Shalom, giving all praises to the Heavenly Father, Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachahakodash. Double honors to the apostles, the bishops, and the elders at Great Millstone who rule well. Peace and salutations as always to the elect, you brothers and you sisters, all right, who are sincere, who are coming back to the Most High God, the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob in these latter days via the Holy Spirit, Rachakodash, which has been sent from on high, so that we can fulfill prophecy, all right, and standing on our feet in a spiritual sense as a great spiritual army, all right, back connected with our power through his only begotten Son, okay, which is bringing a fear upon our enemies, all right. Another episode going into news and prophecy where we link the things that are happening worldwide to the Holy Scriptures as we embark upon the end of Esau's world. We can clearly see the effects of all of the visions given by our forefathers concerning these very days. Okay, as the scriptures say in 2nd Esdras, the 9th chapter, okay, the effects, all right, the end is associated with effects, okay, associated with the visions given unto our forefathers, as it says in the book of Ezekiel, all right, our people who were mocking and scoffing, okay, and full of incredulity, will be put to shame by the effects of all of these visions written in the Holy Scriptures coming to pass. Okay, and if you look into the news over these last, years, okay, the U.S. government and the powers that be, have thrown the talking point of unidentified objects. All right, they've come out with particular information concerning things that they've seen, information that, at one point was not available, to the average person, people who were in the military, which they have to sign, particular pilots, they have to sign, agreements not to speak on certain things. Well, the Lord has put a spirit on a lot of them, whether they be retired or still a part of whatever system or service they're in, they're coming out, with truths and things that, they've seen, and now we can clearly see that the powers that be want to get control of the narrative surrounding, okay, what they call UFOs, which is an unidentified flying object. But we know, according to the Holy Scriptures, all right, that they are identified, okay, and they're identified as the chariots of Yahweh Bashim Yahushua. Now, what we must know is that every time you see something in the sky blinking and flickering, causing people to, kind of be discombobulated, it's not always a chariot. As we know, the left hand have, their form of everything. They have pseudo angels that ultimately, in the form of drones, because when you look up something like a drone or a camera, it's really a pseudo angel gathering intelligence, whether it has the ability to destroy, okay, cameras that they set up, to surveil people. Those are like left-handed angels. So when we deal with, drones that they have flickering in the sky, those are, their version of angels, gathering intelligence, watching over people, and they do have the ability to shoot down beams, okay? Because this devil is ultimately preparing to wage war on the people, all right? But because they have those pseudo angels in the sky does not mean, all right, that the true angels aren't in the atmosphere as well, in the skies, all right, and doing the will of the Lord as they're watching, okay? But we have this article here and a few videos where, all right, clearly we can see, as a matter of fact, because the new name for these is UAP, which is a unidentified aerial phenomena. And we know, according to the Holy Scriptures, this is the book of Revelation, the 13th chapter and the 6th verse, it says, "And he opened his mouth in blasphemy all right, against the Most High. All right. Remember in Daniel, the 7th chapter, this man would defy the Most High. Okay. And this is a impious, demonic, rebellious, all right, man or group of people coming in the name of Satan. Okay. Satan means to be an adversary. And they never want to give the Most High, all right, through his only begotten Son, their credit. So what they do is, set up pseudoscience and pseudo information as a means to control the narrative of what things are and how things should be viewed. All right. When people think about UFOs or UAPs, they associate it, with an alien, you know, some green olive colored individual, which that's them mocking. Okay. So he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name, his reputation, his actual name, okay, and his tabernacle where he dwells, which is his elect. Okay, he's blasphemed the true Israelites via pseudosigns and has presented us to the world as wild savages who were associated with the color, negativity, okay, and everything really that Esau stands for. He's now put that blame on us. All right. Then he funds things like, rap music, gang culture, okay, and then everything else to ultimately have an accusation against us that won't stand against the elect. See? And them that dwell in heaven. Okay, so he's blasphemed the name of the Most High, his tabernacle, and he's also blasphemed them that dwell in heaven, which are the angels, man. He's lied about everything. You see? And now in these latter times, you're starting to see him allow particular information to come out because it's too much. Where you had particular people who, sign different disclosure agreements to not disclose things, pilots, members of the military, members of the Pentagon. Okay, they had to sign particular, agreements not to release particular information. Well, we're living in a time where that information is now coming out, as the U.S. government must come clean about UFOs. So the talking point of UFOs is in the air. The talking point of UAPs is in the air. Okay? And the true chariots of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai are there. They are out there. Okay? Not every video you see, not every light you see is a literal chariot. However, we know through the Spirit they're out there. Okay? And they have revealed themselves as a sign that destruction is coming and that they're watching. Before the Heavenly Father took down, all right, particular kingdoms, he would send his angels to watch over, to work on the minds of his elect, to work on the minds of the rulers, to do things that would lead to the outcome that he wanted. Just like when the Tower of Babel was being built, as we're living in a technological Tower of Babel. Let's get this in the book of Genesis, the 11th chapter. This is Genesis 11 and 5. And Yahweh came down. Now it says Yahweh, but Yahweh has representatives that do his bidding. Okay? Came down to see the city and the tower which the children of men builded. And the Lord said, behold, the people is one. Meaning they're trying to create a one world order, a one world government, where all nations can come up under one banner, which defies the plan of the Heavenly Father through his only begotten Son. And they all have one language, and this they begin to do. Now nothing, okay, will be restrained from them which they have imagined to do. Okay, and we're seeing that atmosphere in the planet Earth today, where people have no regard for Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, no regard for order. NLT, look, he said, these people are united, and they all speak the same language. After this, nothing they set out to do will be impossible for them. And we're living in that time where the craziest, talking points are now normal. Okay, transhumanism, all right? Self-mutilation, where people are just changing the way they look, altering themselves, all kind of confusion. Technology is boasting in people living forever, or making people live longer so they can work longer and they can extend the retirement age. Synonymously, artificial intelligence, all right, is on the horizon. Okay, well, ultimately, God will be replaced by artificial wisdom. We will no longer need the wisdom, all right, associated with the Most High through His Son, all right. We'll create an alternate reality, okay, artificial reality. So now we're living in a time where, because the people have thrown off the Most High, disregarded His order, now nothing is impossible to these people, which they imagine to do. A man could be a woman. A man could, basically put a uterus inside of him and go through, pregnancy as if he was a woman. Okay? Yeah, it sounds crazy, but these are things that are being boasted in the times that we're in. So what did the Lord say? Go to, let us go down, and there confound their language. Now it said us. At first it said Yahweh, but then it said, let us go down and confound their language. And these are the eyes of the Lord, which are the chariots of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, which the same exact thing is happening here, where the angels are here, okay, working on the minds of the kings, working on the minds of the elect, all right, because history as we know it have always been played out by the angels working on the minds of people to do things. Okay, every captivity, there were particular angels sent by the Most High to deal, all right, with the minds of the kings, all right, and there's always angels in their order working on the minds of the elect to keep them in their way. You see? So what the Lord did was He sent angels down to confound the languages, to confound the plans of that, world order at that time. Okay, and ultimately the will of the Lord was done. So the eyes of the Lord, as a matter of fact, let's get the book of, I believe, 1 Chronicles 17. Let's see here. 1 Chronicles 16 and 9, or 2 Chronicles 16 and 9. The eyes of the Lord run to and fro throughout the whole earth. See, the eyes of the Lord, okay? Let's get it in the NLT. The eyes of the Lord search the whole earth in order to strengthen those whose hearts are fully committed unto Him. See, what a fool you have been. From now on, you will be at war. Okay, meaning the Lord is watching everything. Okay, now is it literally the Most High down on earth? No, His eyes are fulfilled in those chariots. You see, watching everything and also strengthening, okay, the minds of them who are fully committed, okay, to Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai. Okay, so because those chariots have been identified, as the scriptures say, they would enter into the house of the thief. Okay, over these, last years, we've seen a increase in the talking point centered around what they call UFOs or UAPs.
The assistant director of the FBI told Congress he doesn't know who's flying these mystery drones over New Jersey.
People are looking at us and they think that we're lying to them because they think, how could you possibly not have answers?
The FBI says it's investigating clusters of drones that have flown near a U.S. military research facility and President-elect Donald Trump's golf course in Bedminster, New Jersey.
That's madness that we don't know what these drones are.
The White House says President Joe Biden is aware of the reports.
Has the federal government ruled out that these are controlled by foreign entities?
I cannot make any kind of predictions or...
Now, the king of Babylon, which are the elites, and these are basically people who work for them, they know about the chariots. As a matter of fact, let's get Jeremiah, the 51st chapter. or Jeremiah 50th chapter. Okay, because they're listening to the prophets. Okay, they know exactly what we're talking about. They know exactly what we're saying. Okay, and they're watching. All right, and just like in the book of Acts, the prophets are turning this whole world upside down. All of these things are happening. All right, to be online with what prophets are saying. Okay, as the scriptures say, we're well known. Let's get this real quick. In the book of Corinthians, yep. Second Corinthians 6:9, we are ignored even though we are well known. We live close to death, but we are still alive. We have been beaten, but we have not been killed. Our hearts ache, but we always have joy. We are poor, but we give spiritual riches to others. We own nothing, yet we have everything. So we are ignored, but we are very, very well known. Okay? Jeremiah 15:43, the king of Babylon have heard the report of them, and his hands have waxed feeble. Anguish took hold of him as pangs of a woman in travail. So the elites, okay, have actually, the chariots, there are different programs like CERN. The chariots have visited these elites. The chariots have visited these devils, man. And then synonymously, you see the children of the Most High raising up, speaking on it, because the scriptures deal with the vehicles of the Lord. That's how we're going to get saved. As a matter of fact, when you get the book of Habakkuk, okay, the scriptures talk about us being delivered as birds flying. But when you get the book of Habakkuk, the 3rd chapter, all right, Habakkuk 3:8 in the NLT, was it in anger that you struck the rivers and parted the sea? Because the chariots are going to bring about a very chaotic environment. We're going to know when the true chariots of the Lord are here to deliver us. As we're going to show you, they do have plans of a pseudo alien invasion. Okay. It says, were you displeased with them? No, you were sending your chariots of salvation. Chariots of salvation. Now the word chariot in the Hebrew is marakab, chariot. Okay. A place to ride, a seat. Okay, or rakab is the root word, to mount, to ride. Okay. And the Bible talks about these things all over the scriptures, man. Okay, it's just that everybody's talking point associated with the so-called UFOs is related to Gazoo or some green little alien. Give me 1 second. Hold up. Yeah, everybody's thought process concerning so-called UFOs is a joke. They're not associated with the chariots of salvation in the Bible. You see, so with all of the prophets going out who are telling the truth about these things, the devil has now thrown in his confusion. Okay? And what's happened is synonymously, there's people who, at one point were silent on things that they saw in particular positions of power. All right. The Lord has allowed them to release information. Okay. So now the truth is coming out that there have been interaction with actual so-called UFOs from another realm, and how they move and the technology associated with them. All right. Are millions of years, all right, advanced. The things that these, not drones, these UAPs or UFOs are able to do, the things that they're doing, the technology that we have is, far behind. So it's coming out, all right, and they got something planned amongst all of the confusion we see these devils coming with in the latter days, you best believe they're going to come with some confusion centered around, all right, UFOs or an attack, all right, from on high. Okay, whether they blame it on another realm or whether they blame it on another country. All right, these are the times we're living in. So we have to be rooted, okay? Because again, the scriptures say that they're going to come with so much deception. If possible, they would deceive the very elect.
Or comments about that?
The fact that we don't know what they are or who's behind them or what they're doing is very concerning to me, particularly in a post-Chinese spy balloon world.
In February of 2023, the U.S. military shot down a Chinese spy balloon off the South Carolina coast. And
they've been talking about they shot down so-called UFOs. They're not going to shoot down the true chariot of the Lord. Okay? So when you hear that, you automatically know, all right, nigga. Okay? But, you know, there was these spy balloons, you know, who they say came from, I believe, China, all right, a year ago. And that was, you know, all over the, you know, the news. But as you can see, something flying from the sky is being associated with an enemy. Okay, because we know, pursuant to the book of 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, that the powers that be are planning, the powers that be are going to fight against the second coming of who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. Does not he say in the book of Revelation, all right, verse 7, all right, it says, behold, let's get it in the NLT. Look, he comes with the clouds of heaven. Everyone will see him, even those who pierced him. All right, which links directly to the Roman soldiers. And we're in Rome all over again. Okay? So he's going to return to Esau's world, all right, the new revised Rome, and all the nation of the world will mourn for him. See? So when Yahushua comes back, everyone's going to see him. And we know 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, describes an environment where they're going to fight against him. Okay? Did not they create a space, all right, a sector of the United States military, which is the 6th branch? Ironically, that number 6, the U.S. Space Force is the 6th branch of the United States military. Okay, its mission is to improve the country's defensive technology and communication capabilities and to achieve national objectives through military space power. The Space Force operates on land, in the air, and in orbit. The other branches of U.S. military are Army, Marine Corps, Navy, Air Force, Coast Guard. So they added a 6th, which is the Space Force, which is going to be used to fulfill what's written in the book of 2nd Esdras. All right, 2nd Esdras, the 13th chapter, and the 29th verse, behold, the days come when the Most High will begin to deliver them that are upon the earth, and shall come to the astonishment of them that dwell on the earth. And one shall undertake to fight against another, one city against another, one place against another, one people against another, and one realm against another. Okay? And the time shall be when these things shall come to pass, and we're living in those times. All of these divisions, civil wars, eventually going to lead to war, all right? World war. It says, and the signs which shall happen, which I showed thee before, and then my son shall be declared, whom thou sawest as a man ascending. And when all the people shall hear his voice, the destruction, right? Every man shall in their own land leave the battle they have against one another. And an innumerable multitude shall be gathered together as thou sawest them, willing to come and to overcome him by fighting. And it's not just the U.S. Space Force. Russia has a Space Force. Okay, as you can see here, United States, China, Russia, France and the UK also have space forces. Okay, because that's going to be used to fulfill this very prophecy. So all of these things we see happening, and what does it say? But Zion shall stand up on the top of Mount Zion, meaning the elect are going to be delivered. Okay, being prepared and showed unto all men, because the enemies are going to behold us being delivered, being prepared and builded, like as thou sawest the hill graven without hands. And this my son shall rebuke the wicked inventions of those nations, which for their wicked life are fallen into the tempest. See that? The Son of the Most High is coming to rebuke all of these wicked inventions, including the space forces, including, all right, the charagma. Okay? Let's go back to this here. Give me 1 second.
And last December, the Pentagon says a number of unauthorized drones flew over an Air Force base and the area that houses SEAL Team 6 in Virginia.
There's huge potential and current use for drones. We just want to make sure they're used safely and for the right purposes.
So there you go. Okay, so they're having hearings. Last month's congressional hearing. Give me 1 second.
We just don't know.
On identified anomalous phenomena, UAP, the government's new name for so-called UFOs, all right, could be characterized as a tale of two testimonies. The first hearing was before two subcommittees, yada, yada, yada. A former NASA official, let's see here. You could read, I don't want to read too much of this because I have a few other videos, but basically they're meeting and talking about this. Okay? And there's particular things they've allowed not to be, released, but they're coming out with some of these testimonies of some of these, particular people who are associated with these programs. And again, we know that a lot of deception is at hand, right? But we know that the devil has lost control of the narrative now, okay? And he's just going to capitalize off of anything he can capitalize off of to bring confusion. All right, now let's get a few of these videos. Here's one that I had as well.
Right here in our region.
Yes, a mystery that has leaders at the federal, state, and local levels demanding answers tonight. Fox 5's Nana St. Yobonsu in Bowie tonight, where people started spotting these large drones earlier this week. Nana.
Kenneth and Angie, good evening. Here in Bowie, residents are trying to figure out what is going on in the sky, and it's not just here. This evening alone, Fox 5 has received a number of calls to our newsroom about drone sightings in Montgomery, Calvert, and Washington counties. Now, on your screen is video of drone video taken by a woman who was driving in Bowie on Monday. Now, the woman tells Fox 5 that she saw several drones in the air for about...
Now, these so-called drones are just popping up all over the place. Some of them popping up in places where they shouldn't be. They're not being shot down. All right, the government is telling you they don't know what they are. Okay, could it be that the literal chariots popped up, and then Esau capitalized off of it by releasing his pseudo chariots? Who knows? Okay, but we know we're living at the end, man, and we know something big is getting ready to take place as well. Okay.
20 minutes and spotted what appeared to be an aircraft following the drones. Now, a number of Bowie residents that we spoke with this evening say there is some concern, especially one man who woke up to a number of messages about these drones in his community. What went through your mind when you got on the Ring app and you saw your neighbors talking about drone sightings in Bowie?
I was kind of shocked, but wasn't too concerned. I know some people own drones, smaller ones.
I'm not surprised. I mean, drones have been in the motion for quite some time now. The question would be where they were coming from. It would be nice to know if we could determine that.
And we know that they can use this talking point to blame China, Russia, and create another enemy, create another boogeyman, put people on edge. lockdown, put lockdowns. We don't know what these things are releasing. We don't know what they're capable of doing. Okay, we know that they're gonna, also there's a, alien invasion plan, where they're gonna use to, put people in fear, and, they got a lot planned because they have to throw it all out because they're at the very end of their world. So you're gonna start to see more and more of these, talking points taking place, because the bottom line is that Esau Edom has lost control of the narrative. Okay, and where he can sow doubt and mess with people's mind, he's going to do it. Okay.
Now, at the moment, Bowie police say that they don't know who is operating these drones or why they are even in the air at night. We spoke to Bowie Council member Michael Estave about the ongoing sightings.
Those of us who have lived in Bowie for a long time know that we see all sorts of things in the skies. We're a few minutes away from Andrews Air Force Base, Fort Meade, Maryland Air National Guard, the White House. So for those of us who lived here for a while, we've seen all sorts of things, and sometimes we know exactly what it is, and sometimes we don't. If you're not used to it, I can totally understand it being worrying. Believe me, I get it.
Now, Estave goes on to say that it doesn't appear that residents have anything to worry about at this time. Police here also confirming that right now it appears to be no danger, but we do know that a number of leaders like Maryland Congressman Glenn Ivey are trying to get to the bottom of these drone sightings. We also know that the FBI and Homeland Security, they are investigating these sightings, not just here in Bowie, but across our region.
So residents in Morris County tell me this has been happening every single night with the exception of Thanksgiving over the past few weeks. One family claims they followed a drone in their car, and while it hovered above them, the clock in their car changed times. Then they say the clock went back to normal after they drove off. Witnesses also talk about the size of these drones. Some say they can be as big as a small car. Despite the growing concern, though, Morris County officials insist, quote, there continues to be no known threat to public safety as the mystery continues.
Okay, keep us posted. This is bizarre. We need to know more. Thank you.
Indeed.
You wrote an op-ed about this. This happened a year ago. We're just now learning about it. Pretty shocking. What do we know about these drones?
Well, Will, first of all, thanks for having me on. But these drones were large. Some of them were as large as 20 feet long.
Mystery drones were spotted flying over U.S. military bases in Virginia last year for 17 straight days.
3 months earlier, mysterious drones were also spotted flying over a sensitive nuclear facility in Nevada. It is not clear whether these incidents were related.
They also had smaller quadcopters that came down off of the larger mothership drones that hovered just above the ground. This happened for 17 straight nights at Langley Air Force Base in Virginia, starting on Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th.
Okay, so I have a couple of questions I need to understand. First, so you said they were large enough that they probably would have had to been launched from sea, from a ship off the coast. It seems inconceivable that would...
And they're up to something. Like someone had said here, these surveillance drones will go perfectly with the purple streetlight checkpoints used to verify every inhabitant of the earth. So this can very well end in them saying, well, we need to surveil the skies. Okay, we don't know what's going on. Because, again, just like 911, ain't no plane going to get that close to no building without the government knowing and being alerted and having the ability to shoot it down or stop it or, So all of these things are happening, under their watch. The powers that be are up to something. All right, as it says, something big is coming. I can feel it. Okay, people know. All right, people are onto these devils. And this is the thing. They've lost control of the narrative, man. See? And it's like they're trying to psych themselves out, play with the minds of people. Who knows what they're up to. But all we have to do is continue to watch and pray.
Escape America's attention in terms of our surveillance, our spying from a foreign power. So I don't know how this happens or how, I don't know how, I guess, Chuck, I don't know how big a threat I'm supposed to take this as. I don't know who could have possibly done this.
Apparently, the Pentagon has no idea who these drones are. U.S. officials still claim that they don't know who is flying the drones or how to stop the drones.
And Will, it gets worse. Just a couple of months earlier, there were several mystery drone flights over our nuclear testing range in Nevada, just north of Las Vegas. And again, nothing was done. And it gets even worse. Some of the FBI agents that have been assigned to look into this have reported drones flying over their homes as if to say, hey, we know where you are.
After flying over Langley Air Force Base, the drones headed south over an area that includes the home base for the Navy's SEALs Team 6 and Naval Station Norfolk. John, this is just incredible.
The drone mystery remains unsolved, Harris, but it certainly has the attention of Pentagon brass.
This is over my house right now. What is that?
That's the question on everyone's mind as this object, and at times apparent clusters of objects, hovered over northern New Jersey last night. Multiple sightings were captured on cell phone video in the evening and matched similar images seen over the last 2 weeks.
The drone mystery over New Jersey, seen flying near President-elect Trump's Bedminster golf course and near a military base.
That's not a plane.
Mysterious drones have been popping up in the night sky over New Jersey.
This is a video of the Morris County drones with characteristic triangle lights.
Residents sharing eerie videos like these on social media. Mike Walsh says he's been seeing them since mid-November.
It's like close encounters for people in New Jersey.
For the past several weeks, they've been spotting possible drones that are flying overhead. No one seems to know what they are. The FBI is looking into the sightings and is asking people to share photos and videos with them. So look at this. Sometimes it appears to be one large drone, possibly the size of a car. Whoa. Other times it's several objects flying in formation.
I can see 3 drones just in this view. There is another one over here and another one back here.
And still little to no explanation. The fact that our police, the county, the state, no one has anything to say about it, I think is crazy.
We went in search of answers Wednesday and learned this from the mayor of Mendham Borough.
I know that these drones are not new. They've been going on for a while now, like well over a year. It's just increasing. It's at a much more rapid level.
So there's a man in Morris County who took this video from last week. Large drones or even a fixed wing aircraft, he says, the size of a car. He started noticing these multiple drone-looking aircraft in the sky at night starting last month.
He reported them to local police but hasn't received any explanation. Other residents say the drones seem to fly in coordinated groups, appearing every night except Thanksgiving and disappearing as soon as the sun comes up.
Just looked out the window.
So they're definitely up to something. And let's get this scripture as well. Zechariah is a good one. Give me 1 second. Okay, let's get this. Matthew 24 and 24 in the NLT. For false messiahs will rise, false anointed ones, right? Which we're seeing an increase in that, and perform great signs and wonders. And Esau, Edom, is putting himself in the position of a messiah as well. Okay? And will perform great signs and wonders so as to deceive, if possible, even God's chosen ones. Okay? See, I have warned you about this ahead of time. So if someone tells you, look, the Messiah is out in the desert, don't bother to go. All right? And look. Or if they say, look, he's hiding here, don't believe it. Okay? Like that whole, rapture narrative. Like we're going to be, the believers in Jesus are going to be secretly, beamed up, before the tribulation and hidden. Nah, man. All right, you're going to have groups of Christians talking about we found the location. Okay? Don't believe it. For as the lightning flashes in the east and shines to the west, so will it be when the Son of Man comes. Okay? Just as the gathering of vultures shows there a carcass nearby, so these signs will indicate that the end is near, and the Lord is going to be, wherever the elect are. All right, hey, the Lord is going to be there to deliver them, man. Okay? So, again, something pseudo associated with, the return of the Lord, something pseudo associated with the angels in the sky is definitely on the horizon, okay?
At 6 o'clock, and there were 7 or 8 hovering right near my home. It's a complete violation of privacy and unnerving. I couldn't sleep last night.
The drone sightings continued last night over Morris County and have now been spotted in other areas of the state.
And again, they just don't stop. Every week there's some type of, boogeyman, some type of situations, some type of new rebellion. Now they just throw the so-called UFOs out there. And now it's drones in the sky, which we don't know how they got there. They're over certain facilities that usually would investigate them or shoot them down. So just know this is being allowed because something is getting ready to happen.
Where they're coming from and who's controlling them remains a mystery.
This is bizarre. There's more over there. Look.
who they are, who's controlling these drones, and why there's so many of them.
Aviation expert JP Tristani says his biggest concern is having unauthorized drones flying in an already crowded airspace that serves Newark, LaGuardia, JFK, Teterboro, and Morristown airports.
It's like a symphony in the sky of aircraft. All of them have prescribed paths. You start throwing unidentified objects, such as drones or UFOs, into that pattern, and you have a very critical problem with safety in the air.
Clearly in a formation.
The FBI says they are possibly drones and is asking the public for information and videos of any such activity. Local police say there's no immediate danger to the public, but they don't have an explanation for the flying objects.
Tonight in central New Jersey, a mystery in the sky.
What the heck?
The FBI is now investigating multiple sightings of swarms of drones hovering.
This is GMS Vegas sit-downs 144K. A wheel within a wheel. Now they all tapping it into Ezekiel. So yeah, a lot is happening. All right, a lot is happening. All right, let's check this out. Second Edges 9, 5 through 6, like it's all that's made in the world hath in the beginning, and the end is manifest.
49 sightings.
And it said, even though, let's read it again. All right. It said, even so the times also of the highest has plain beginnings and wonders and powerful works and endings and effects and signs. And these are the effects and signs.
49 sightings over the state of New Jersey. You don't have answers from your government. You're the governor of a state. One of the most densely populated state in the United States, by the way. More people live closer in New Jersey, close to each other than any state in the country. So there's all these eyewitness accounts of this over military bases. And we don't know. We can't get answers. No one will give you, the governor, answers of this. So now we also have eyewitness photos, crystal clear photos of these orbs also now being published. Do those look like drones to you?
No, they look like embryos.
Yeah, they look like some sort of embryo or some sort of massive, I don't know, circular orb with some sort of field around them, hovering. And this is what we're seeing now. So again, also other eyewitnesses seeing these sort of like wheel within a wheel, like something like right out of the Bible. Look at these. This is over New Jersey.
Something out of the Bible. So now, all right, these right wingers, these truthers, right, you know, are taking talking points from the Hebrew Israelites. Okay, and now they know that the chariots are in the Bible. Why? Because of the work of the prophets. As a matter of fact, let's get the book of Zechariah, the 5th chapter. One of the scriptures we always bring out concerning this topic. This is Zechariah 5:1. Then I turned and lifted up mine eyes and looked, behold, a flying roll. All right. And he said unto me, what seest thou? And I answered, I see a flying roll. The length thereof is 20 cubits, and the breadth thereof is 10 cubits. Then said he unto me, this is the curse that goeth forth over the face of the whole earth. For everyone that stealeth shall be cut off. All right. Let's read this in the NLT. Then he said to me, this scroll contains the curse that is going out over the entire land. All right, because these angels are going to bring destruction, man. Okay? The brightness of his coming. Okay, as a matter of fact, the scriptures say this in 2 Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, in the 8th verse. It says, and then shall that wicked be revealed, whom the Lord shall consume with the spirit of his mouth, the prophets, and shall destroy with the brightness of his coming, which is those chariots. Okay? Even him whose coming is after the working of Satan with all power, signs, and lying wonders. Okay? We're seeing some of his lying wonders. All right? Zechariah 5:3. Then he said to me, this scroll contains the curse that is going out over the entire land. All right. One side of the scroll says those who steal will be banished from the land. And the other side says those who swear falsely will be banished from the land. So this all all right, culminates in the judgment coming to evildoers, starting with Esau Edom, man, the biggest thief. Okay? It says, and I will bring it forth, says the Lord of hosts, and it shall enter into the house of the thief. Okay? Who's the biggest thief on the planet Earth, man? Okay? The Edomites. All right? Their rulership is highly predicated and rooted in thievery, rape, robbing, murder, the sword. Okay? And they swear falsely by his name. They swear in on the Bible. Right? And they do nothing but anti-Messiah acts. And it shall remain in the midst of the house, and it shall consume it with the timber thereof and with the stones thereof. NLT, and this is what the Lord of heaven's army says, I am sending this curse into the house of every thief and into the house of everyone who swears falsely using my name, and my curse will remain in that house and completely destroyed, even its timber and stones. This is what's coming to America. At the end of the day, no matter how much confusion and deception you bring, this is the order of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Okay? And like this brother said here, to be honest, they never preached UFOs or chariots. They heard the truth and said, I read my Bible. The understanding isn't given unto them. Christianity never preached this exactly. But now everybody got a Bible in their hand, and everybody is taking talking points from the Israelites who unknown, ignored, but well known. See that? And they don't have the answers.
Does that look like some sort of any kind of a drone that you've ever seen before?
Ezekiel's description of what he saw. This is one of the favorite descriptions from the Bible, from the Old.
When have anybody outside of the Israelites used Ezekiel to tie it to the chariots? I'll wait.
Old Testament about UFOs that people love to bring up, because Ezekiel has this thing that he describes, and it's the most bizarre depiction. I saw an immense dust storm come from the north, an immense cloud with lightning flashing from it, a huge ball of fire glowing like bronze. Within the fire were what looked like 4 creatures vibrant with life. Each had the form of a human being, but each also had 4 faces and 4 wings. Their legs were as sturdy and straight as columns, but their feet were hooved like those of a calf and sparkled with the fire like burnished bronze. On all 4 sides under their wings they had human hands. All 4 had faces and the wings touching one another. They turned neither one way nor the other. They went straight forward. Their faces looked like this. In front of a human face, on the right side, the face of a lion. On the left, the face of an ox. And in the back,
the different characteristics of the angels which are given unto men. You know, the lion, strength. Okay, communication. Lions are good communicators. The ox, you know, a laborer. Okay. As a matter of fact, give me 1 second. Hold up. Yeah, it says the ox is hardworking, dependable, patient, stubborn. Once they're decided on something, they don't change their minds. Okay, and these are characteristics, you know, the hardworking, dependable, patient, stubborn, loyal, practical, good at managing resources, calm. Okay, so all of the characteristics the angels have, again, the elect men were made in the elect were made in their image. Okay, and really, when you read the book of Ezekiel, the Lord was taking his glory from over the temple. All right, and ultimately, Ezekiel represented the prophets who he would deal with. All right, because he allowed the temple to be destroyed. All right, you can read Ezekiel, the 1st chapter. You can read Ezekiel, the 2nd chapter. You can read Ezekiel, the 10th chapter. It goes into that. How the Lord took his glory from over the temple and put it over Ezekiel, symbolizing he was going to deal with the prophets. They would be strengthened by him to get his will done, because the leadership of Israel and the temple had become absolutely wicked. See? But that's another lesson for another time, you know.
Face of an eagle. So much for the faces.
Yeah, eagle, you know, ox, lion, I believe a man. you know, which again, these are all characteristics the angels have, which are given unto the men of the Lord, so that the will of the Lord is done in earth.
The wings were spread out with the tips of one pair touching the creature on either side. The other pair of wings covered its body. Each creature went straight ahead. Wherever the spirit went, they went. They didn't turn as they want. The four,
and like the eagles have the ability to see, okay, afar, okay? We've been given that ability through the spirit of prophecy, okay?
creatures looked like blazing fire or fiery torches. Tongues of fire shot back and forth between the creatures, and out of the fire, bolts of lightning. The creatures flashed back and forth like strikes of lightning. As I watched the four creatures, I saw something that looked like...
So they're literally reading Ezekiel on a Joe Rogan podcast. These are the times we're in.
A wheel on the ground beside each of the four-faced creatures. This is what the wheels looked like. They were identical wheels, sparkling like diamonds in the sun. They looked like they were wheels within wheels, like a gyroscope. They went in any of the four directions they faced, but straight, not veering off. The rims were immense, circled with eyes. When the living creatures went, the wheels went. When the living creatures lifted off, the wheels lifted off. Wherever the spirit went, they went, the wheels sticking right with them. For the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. When the creatures went,
they follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth.
Wheels went. When the creatures stopped, the wheels stopped. When the creatures lifted off, the wheels lifted off, because the spirit of the living creatures was in the wheels. Over the heads of the living creatures was something like a dome, shimmering like the light, like a sky full of cut glass, vaulted over their heads. Under the dome, one set of wings was extended towards the other, with another set of wings covering their bodies. When they moved, I heard their wings. It was like the roar of a great waterfall, like the voice of the strong God.
You know, the voice of Yahweh Shai. Okay, it was like the many waters, man. Okay, Revelation 4 kind of describes this as well. Okay, but again, these are now talking points that have made the mainstream. Okay.
Like the noise of a battlefield. When they stopped, they folded their wings. And then, as they stood with folded wings, there was a voice above the dome over their heads. Above the dome, there was something that looked like a throne. Sky blue like a sapphire, with a human-like figure towering above the throne.
And that's Yahweh Shai. Ultimately, the Lord took his glory from up over the temple, and he put it over his men, which Ezekiel represents the prophet strengthened of Yahweh, okay, who will receive the true message and do the true will. Because again, when you read Ezekiel 10 and 11, he showed him that he was going to take his glory from over the temple. And why? Because the leaders were into all kind of idol worship. Okay.
I could see from the waist up, he looked like burnished bronze, and from the waist down, like a blazing fire, brightness everywhere. The way a rainbow springs out of
burnished bronze. Okay. That's Yahweh Shai, man. Okay. And this is how the Lord would eventually deal with his men.
Sky on a rainy day, that's what it was like. It turned out to be the glory of God.
Joining us now is Tennessee Representative Tim Burchett, who has been a vocal advocate for increasing transparency from the government when it comes to identified flying objects. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, ma'am. It's my pleasure.
Thank you. The latest report shows the government cannot explain 171 of these sightings. What do you think those could be?
Well, I've been a believer in the phenomena for a long time. I'm a Christian. I'm not a very good one. I read my Bible, and first chapter of Ezekiel is pretty clear of a UFO sighting. Of course, it's written from King James Version and translated from...
These Christians never were talking like this. But now, again, the prophets, the unknown but well-known, all right, are turning this world upside down, man.
Earlier words, but the reality is, as you're seeing on the screen right now, that is something that is defying any of our capabilities at all. If you were a human and make the turns that have been seen in some of this footage, you would literally turn into a ketchup package. I mean, you would be gone.
There you go. And he quotes Ezekiel. So we here, man. Very interesting times. 2025 could very well bring a lot.
When I read Grush's report that's public, that anyone can read, in the report he described that one of the theories is that what we're encountering are beings that are extra-dimensional or interdimensional. Well, in a lot of different scriptures, including the Bible and others, that's really the way that you describe messengers of God, or angels, and so they may not fit exactly the biblical narrative. But whenever I use the term angels, to me it's synonymous with an extra dimensional being.
Ooh. Hebrews 1:14. Are not they all ministering spirits sent forth? All right, Psalm 68:17. The chariots of God are 20,000, even thousands of angels. The Lord is among them, as in Sinai. Okay, Jude 1:14. And Enoch, also the seventh generation from Adam, prophesied of these, saying, Behold, the Lord cometh with 10,000 of his saints to execute judgment, and to convince all that are ungodly among them of all their ungodly deeds, which they have ungodly committed, and all their hard speeches which they spoken against us. So judgment is in the air, man. But as we can clearly see, these are now talking points that everybody has in their mouth, because the prophets have turned the world upside down. Let's see if I can find that scripture in Acts. Okay? It's only going to get worse. Acts 17:6 NLT. Not finding them there, they dragged out Jason and some of the other believers instead, and took them before the city council. Paul and Silas have caused trouble in the world, they shouted, and now they are disturbing our city too. King James. And when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain other rulers of the city, crying, These that have turned the world upside down are come hither also. We tired of these, the followers of Yahweh Shai who had the breakdown. They were said to have turned the world upside down. The word
Strong's G 387. Anastatao.
To stir up, excite, unsettle, to excite tumults and seditions in the state, to upset, unsettle minds by dismantling religious error. And that's what we're doing. Okay? We are, all right, in their eyes, spreading religious error. Okay? The word disseminating, spreading. Okay? To upset and unsettle minds by disseminating religious error. And this is what they're saying about our talking points, is that it's error, but it's really causing a stir in the earth, man. So, I mean, let's see what this one's pretty much the same thing.
The white thing? Is that the white thing? No, wait, that's the alien, bro. Wait, that's the alien, right? Daddy?
And this GMS Word of Life. All right, subscribe. He always posting UFO videos. Don't be scared now. It's just the beginning. So check that out. Lord willing, we'll be back with more. Shalom.